All right, as you guys know, we are in a new month. And so one of the things that I do every week, every month, is I set some goals for myself and even raise the bar for myself from where I was the month prior. Whatever I hit the month prior, let's raise that bar and go even further. But definitely writing down your monthly goals. I have a whiteboard down here. I write my monthly goals on. There is power in that. You know, when you write it down and you look at it every day, and then in my planner, every week as I'm planning out my week, I write down what my focus is and my goals are for the week. Like if I want to sign up 2 coaches by the end of this week, I write that down, and then I start planning, how am I going to get to that? What do my posts need to look like to get to that? Who am I going to talk to? So I even have a list of about 10 people narrowed down from my dream team list for this week that I'm focusing on for relationships and starting to build into that invite with them. So it just helps me narrow in what I'm doing and have a plan for working towards my goals. So I highly suggest you guys doing that. Our sneak peek is going to be on the 3rd Sunday. So not this coming Sunday, but thanks, Annie. The 16th. So what we're going to do is starting next week, we're going to have a Emerald training group that will start on the 10th, and it will lead into that sneak peek. So our invites that we're doing throughout next week, if we need to, we can put them into the sneak peek on the 16th. Remember, the sneak peek, though, is always up for you guys. You can always be adding people into there. It's not just the weekend of a sneak peek that you need to put people in there. That is ongoing. We just do new videos. And I always leave my people in there because you never know who's scrolling Facebook that night, and maybe they were in a sneak peek like 3 months ago and they see one of our videos pop up and something strikes them and they decide to watch it. So I know that I've heard people say like, oh, I watched sneak peeks for like 3 months and I finally joined as a coach. So leave them in there. There is a purpose behind why we leave the same group open all the time. Okay, let's go into, I'm going to do a share screen here. If this will work. Oh, I already am doing a share screen. Okay, do y'all see the slides here? Okay, cool. How to rock your business on Instagram. And I want to just preface this by saying I am not an Instagram like rock star or know everything about Instagram, but I have been studying it. I have been trying to learn as much as I can about it by listening to YouTube and podcasts and watching what other coaches are doing, talking to other coaches who are doing well on it. I know Tammy, who's on here, we've talked back and forth about it because she's been studying and really diving into Instagram as well. So just sharing best practices and what's working and what's not working. So you guys can do the same thing. Like, you should always be a student. And the thing with social media is it is always changing. So I can learn all there is to know about Instagram and Facebook this week, and next month something changes. So that is why you have to continually be diving into that growth and listening to what is new on social media and what you need to shift. I will say that Instagram and stories, I was not like super excited when I heard, this is where we need to be. I resisted it for a little bit because I was like, I've always rocked it on Facebook. Like, Facebook's always worked for me. That's where I've grown my business. That's where I've gotten to 6 figures. But I also know that in order to keep growing, and I'm going to have to shift with the trends. And the trend that has been happening and what successful coaches are seeing, it is coming from more on Instagram these days than anything. And so I had to make that shift as well. I am still putting just as much effort into Facebook though. So I'm not reinventing the wheel. I mean, I'm putting similar content. I'm going to talk about that tonight on both because I certainly did not like the idea of I have to write completely different things for all these platforms. That stressed me out. But if you've been a coach a while, you'll know that we used to say you need to post 3 to 5 times a day on social media, and you don't need to worry about that anymore. It's really more about quality over quantity. So really and truly, if I get one quality post up a day on Instagram and Facebook, I feel good about that. And then where you're going to see a lot of variety is in my Insta stories. So that I'm posting at least 10 times the little clips a day. Some of those clips are me working out. Five of those could be me doing my workout moves, but just showing my life as a coach. So we're going to talk about that, and that's where people really get to know you. But just remember, everything is with consistency. What you do consistently over time, maybe 20 for me. Yeah, that's even better, Tammy. I'm going to talk about why. But what you do consistently over time, you guys, is what's going to help you build customers. This is not an overnight thing. And hey, Greg, with Instagram for me, it took some time for me to start gaining some traction and be able to get any customers or coaches to say yes to coming on board with me, because that is a very cold audience for me. Sure, I have some overlap with some followers on Facebook and Instagram, but I would say most of my Instagram is very cold market. So that is taking time and trust. So you always need to be thinking about whenever you post anywhere, is think about what your customer needs and what your customer wants are. That's the secret to social media in general, is you want to deliver what they're wanting to see. And so you also want to pay attention. What is your audience responding to? You want to post more of that. And I know there's this draw, and it's like, you want to be like an Instagram rock star, have 1 million followers. And I'm trying to build my followers for sure. But I think we also need to remember to not compare yourself to some other coaches out there that maybe have 50,000 followers and such. Because sometimes we can have so many followers, but maybe there's not necessarily quality followers. You can definitely pay to rush your following, but they're not really be in your niche. And there's something to be said about having a smaller audience that you're really impacting versus a huge audience that there's no connection with. Does that make sense? So you got to think about that too. And every day when you show up, who is that one person that needs to hear from you today? Who is that one person that you can try to make a connection with? And that's going to go further into building your business and your team and your challenge groups. So turn that pyramid upside down. We kind of want to look at it to where, it's upside down, wanting to respond to one person, thinking about that one person that you're going to impact. Okay. So stories versus your well, let me go back for a second. Facebook versus Instagram. I get that question like, well, where do I need to be focusing? Honestly, for me, I say both. It just depends on what your goals are. If you want to build a business and you want to keep growing, I would say you need to be looking at both. One is not necessarily better than the other. I did hear on a podcast recently, if you are in the age range of 35 and below, Instagram is more impactful. 35 and above or above 35, they said Facebook. I don't know. I mean, maybe. That I'm still showing up on both. I fall right in the middle of that. So there we go. I got to do both places. Let's see. But you need to be where your customer is. Okay. Now, most of my customers were on Facebook, but I'm slowly starting to pick up on Instagram. That's starting to grow because I've been very consistent there for the last, I would say, year and a half. I've really been putting more of a focus on Instagram. Okay, stories versus your Instagram feed. How does that different, and what should that look like? Your stories are like a reality TV show of your life. It doesn't need to be super scripted or scripted at all, really. It doesn't need to be perfect or groomed and real fancy, okay? It can, honestly, I think that the more real and raw, the better. And it's more duplicatable for your coaches who are watching you as you build a team and for your future coaches. You want people to be able to look at your stories and say, I can do what that girl does. So if you go too fancy with it on your stories, I feel like people look at it like, I don't have time for that. So, I mean, I show a lot of what my day looks like as a coach, getting up in the morning with my coffee. Here's me checking my challenge groups. Now I'm putting my kids on the bus. Now I'm going to the park. Now it's nap time. I'm checking back into my business. Here's me working out. I'm just showing what that looks like in my life so people can see how I'm fitting things in. But it's where people really get to know you is on your stories. Your Instagram feed, your pictures and your images, that does need to be more groomed and pretty and beautiful. Your photos really do matter there. It is the highlight reel of your life, kind of like a magazine cover. Let me see, I think a chat popped up. And it's not wanting me to respond. Where are you, chat? Having a hard time pulling it up. There it goes. It's just being slow. Okay. Yeah, talking to people like you, focus. Yeah, that's, so back to stories, I think, Tammy, you're talking about here. Talking to people who are like you, just being yourself, thinking about the people that, what they're going to connect with you on. Those are the types of things you want to talk about in your stories. And your Instagram feed needs to look like more of a magazine, have a consistent theme throughout. So, you'll go to some people's Instagram pages and it's very flowery, or it could have like a blue hue to it, or mine is pretty bright. I have a blue workout room, and I use my team colors blue, so I'm using blue backgrounds on all of my quotes. That's very consistent on my page. I tend to use like the blue filter on my phone, so it's kind of a blue and bright type of look. So keep that in mind. And when you're taking pictures, and I think this is on another slide as well, but when you're taking photos, you need good lighting. That really does matter for Instagram. I mean, it matters for Facebook too, but most definitely on Instagram, you need pretty pictures. So think about where you're taking your pictures, with, in front of a window, using that natural lighting. Go outside, stage some pictures. If you do your hair and it looks good one day, go take a bunch of pictures. I have brought Madeline on board, and she is my photographer now. She's really good at it, my 8-year-old daughter. And so I'm like, hey, I will pay you an allowance to help Mama with some pictures for her business. So she is hired, and she's good at it. So have your kids snap some pictures of you, or get a tripod and set it up and get creative. So it's not always the same selfie every single time. You've got to have some variety there. You could do, though, a similar background, but change up your pose. If you have a pretty wood floor in your house or something, maybe you set stuff on your wood floor that you're taking a picture of, or you have really pretty countertops. That can be something that's consistently seen throughout your feed, just so it flows nice. So that is very, very important. You don't want a dark room. You don't want clutter. Make it attractive. All right. Instagram feed and your profile. So your bio, if you go to mine, let me see what mine says. You want it to be fun, friendly, lighthearted, okay? Just something catchy that describes you. So mine says, and it has some emojis in there, mom of 4 girls, you see little girl heads, 2 dog heads, and a cat. Clean eater, fitness fanatic, Texas living. Check out my Insta story to get to know me. So that's what mine says. So nothing about Beachbody Coach. If you have Beachbody Coach in there, take it out. That would be my recommendation. They'll pick up on that as they start to follow you and read your stuff, but I don't want that to be the first thing they see. So you want to keep it more generic, because remember, who are you selling? You're not selling Beachbody, right? You're selling yourself as a coach. So keep that fun, friendly, lighthearted. Linktree, okay? This is a tool that you can use, and this is how you spell it. I've got it here on this slide. This is a tool you can use to put multiple links in your profile. So what Linktree does is when I go to that, I have several forms that it takes people to, where I can collect their email for various things. It's not a link to my Beachbody website, okay? So let's say, for example, I'm inviting right now to my Back to School Challenge group. I can say, click on the link in my bio to apply for my upcoming group. And so they could click the Linktree one and see a spot to apply for my Back to School Challenge group. I actually need to update that, so you're not going to see that right now. But the ones I have in there at the moment, I think I have like a generic one. Join What is a Coach Sneak Peek, Back to School August Boot Camp. So I have August. I need to update that to September. Apply for Team Dream Big, connect on Facebook, and my blog. A couple of these I need to edit, but that is a great way for people to be able to go to links where you can collect their information and you can reach out to them. I use forms like Google Form. That's very simple, you guys, for you to set up. And if you don't know how to do it, go to Google, watch, or go to YouTube and find a video. It's very easy to do. I use MailChimp, which is something I've used for a while. It's how I send my newsletters out as well. And it's free up to like 2,000 people. I'm now paying for it, but it took a while to get there. So if you guys have any questions about Linktree, let me know. But that was super, super easy to set up Linktree. Like, I don't even think I watched a training on it. I just went in there and clicked on things and figured it out. And then it automatically posts to your bio. Okay, business page versus personal page. I like and recommend a business page just from things that I have learned, and I talk to my social media manager that helps me with some things. One of the reasons I like business page is, number one, you have the ability to run ads. Number two, you have insights. What that means is you can actually go in and look at what is your audience like? Do you have mostly men? Do you have mostly women? Where are they from? What is their age range? What are the times of days that they are on and most active in looking at your stuff? You can see which of your posts actually are getting the most engagement. And it was actually funny. I didn't realize this until recently, you guys. I started looking at this. And you can look at your content. And my number one post was me with my new car. Like, nothing to do with fitness. Apparently my audience liked seeing me buy a new car. So I'm like, I guess I need to buy a new car every 6 months. Just kidding. But that worked really well. So you can look at what your audience likes seeing. And my audience actually likes seeing a lot of transformations too. Those were my for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 posts that are my most engaged posts. They were transformation type pictures. So that's a good thing to look at. All right, let's see. Be more selective about what you're posting on your Instagram versus what you would post on Facebook. So on Facebook, it's more, I don't know, more for your warm market and your hot market, right? So you might post things on there that are a little bit more personal, more about your family or fun. Like, I wouldn't post a goofy GIF type thing on my Facebook page. I mean, I'm sorry, on my Instagram feed. Does that make sense? Or like one of those goofy little memes. I wouldn't put that on Instagram. That goes on my Facebook page. So that just, that's an example of things to be more selective about. Do I show some things about my family on my Instagram? Yes, but more so on Facebook. I already talked about that your pics matter more and how they look like. Planoly is something that I learned from Rachel Hollis, that she talked about using Planoly to help schedule out your Instagram post. So this is a program you can use that you can pre-write your posts, and it will actually show you what they're going to look like when they go into your Instagram feed. So that's cool. So you can make sure that, like, oh, I don't have too many quotes like stacked on top of each other, that it looks pretty with the layout. And really, you only need to post 1 time a day. Again, that's all about consistency. All right. Yeah. Tammy, that is something in my house too. It's the paint in here. Like, it kind of gets like yellowy looking in my pictures. So I need lots of good lighting to help with that. And filters that can help too. Okay, hashtags. Oh, the hashtags, because man, this is something I'm constantly having to play with. Let's talk about how to come up with hashtags, as I know that one of the frustrations is, oh my gosh, all these hashtags I'm looking at are coaches. So you got to get a little more creative and specific. So make a list of things that make you unique that have nothing to do with coaching, or fitness or food or clean eating. Nothing to do with that. Something completely different that describes you. And then hone it in even more. You know, like not just mom, but mom of 4 girls would be one for me. So you need to get very specific on that. I know Tammy has worked on this a lot. So Tammy, if you have good examples, feel free to put those in the comments. You can use up to 30 hashtags. And you need to, my recommendation and what I've been learning is it's best to put them in the comments, not with the post, just because it looks better that way. And so you also want to try to get those hashtags up in your comment as fast as possible. Like when I listened to Chalene Johnson's son, Brock Johnson, he was talking about this. He's like, the first 4 seconds are like, that's really hard to get to your hashtags that fast, but the first 4 seconds are super important to try to get that first comment in. One way you can do that really fast is, yes, you can save them in the notes section of your phone, but also, do you guys know what text replacement is? I mean, I have that on my iPhone. I don't know if you don't have an iPhone, what if you have that ability, but there's something called text replacement. If you go to, let's see, general in your settings and then keyboard, okay, you can create a text replacement that has a shortcut. So for example, I would put the phrase, like a bunch of hashtags in the phrase, and then let's see if I can show you guys this, what it looks like. Okay, and then that bottom line says shortcut. So I could just put like hashtags as my shortcut, or HT. So whenever I put a post on Instagram, I can go to that first comment on my post, type in HT, and then all the hashtags for that text replacement are going to pop up, and I'll just click enter, and all 30 of my hashtags will go in there. So I don't have to type them up every single time. But at the same time, have some fun with your hashtags. Change them up a little bit, don't always use the same ones. I mean, for the most part, I do very similar ones, but I'll change them up a little bit according to what I'm posting. And I did hear on a training the other day that, what was the timing? Not to use a hashtag. I think I have it on one of the posts, but I mean, one of the slides, but not to use the same hashtags, I think more than I think it was 60 days. You do need to change it up a little bit, just because Instagram may flag you. Okay, let's go back to share screen. Okay. Any questions on any of that so far? Display purposes is something that you can use. It's an app. Okay, display purposes. So let's say I need some help being creative, coming up with hashtags. You can go to display purposes, type in hashtag mom. It will give you a bunch of hashtags that are related to mom. They're similar in that category to help you then, okay, now I'm gonna take, maybe it gave me, let's see, mom so hard. I don't know, maybe it gave you a different hashtag to use. Then you can go input that hashtag into Explore on Instagram, and then take a look at the people who are using that hashtag. Do these people look like they're in my niche, whatever you call it, audience, and people that I would want to connect with? If so, that would probably be a good hashtag to use. You also want to make sure that hashtag is not a ginormous audience of 1 million people. You want to try to keep that, narrow it between 1,000, 50,000 is a really good audience to try to aim for, because again, we are trying to find our people. And so the narrower you can get that hashtag to a smaller audience, the better. And yes, this takes some time, right? This takes some time. and playing around, but once you get some good hashtags with a good audience, you got it. And you don't have to change it up every single time. Keep using those. All right. My chat is super slow to pop up. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to pull it up. Come on. There you are. Okay. Search hashtags on Instagram by clicking the spyglass on the main page. The other thing you can do is you can Google hashtags, you guys, and it will help you come up with some better hashtags. Okay, that's another thing you can do. All right. It is not wanting to change slides. There we go. Okay. What hashtags do I use to attract people? So start by creating an interest list of, what was I saying here? I have a typo. Of at least 10 things. That's supposed to say at least 10. Create an interest list of at least 10 things that have nothing to do with fitness. We talked about that. Some examples: Disney, MAC makeup, that's something I love. Harry Potter, you know, anything that you really love that's nothing to do with Beachbody. Your next step, and there's another typo, Google search the hashtags. So you can Google popular hashtags for Disney World. All right, so that'll help you come up with some more creative hashtags for something related to Disney World. Plug the hashtag into Instagram and look at who's using them. Help you narrow down your niche, see if that's a good audience for you. And then make sure the hashtag audience isn't too large. And if it is too large, make that hashtag a little more specific. Okay, try to get a little more creative with it. Add some words to it. And then come up with about 25 to 30 that you can use all the time. Change it up after 60 days, just so Instagram doesn't flag you. Okay, those are some tips on hashtags. Okay, what hashtags do I use to find people? You're going to use that same list of 25 to find new people to follow and connect with. So this should just be one of those little blocks of time that you just sit down and focus on this activity only. Maybe you set a timer for 15, 20 minutes. Maybe as you're going to bed at night and you're about to fall asleep and you're just laying there, maybe you're scrolling your phone, use that time to go connect with new people. So plug in one of the hashtags that you have on your list and then just start following people. And also, I mean, it's good to engage with them. Have you ever heard of the 5-3-1? So like 5 of their posts by clicking them, double tap, comment on 3, and then direct message them about something specific that you could ask them about or something that you can connect with them on. Find that commonality like we've been learning in Ashley Shaw's training. But try to add at least 20 people a day is a good number to be aiming for. Go to the hashtag, browse, add people. We talked about that. Let's see. Okay, so there's like a lot of people on Instagram, right? So sometimes it feels overwhelming, like who in the world am I supposed to even talk to? Because I could sit there and I could literally talk to people all day long, right? So try to narrow down, you know, pick 10 people that you love their stuff. Maybe you have just like, you can tell you have a lot in common with them. Or they just seem very positive on Instagram, or they're already posting about about fitness. Maybe pick 10 people a month that you would love to have on your team. And then you're checking in on them every day for like 2 weeks, not messaging them every day, but you're going to their page every day and seeing if they're posting new content, and you're engaging with them and commenting on their stuff, okay? That way you're building that trust. And if you're doing that, your stuff's now going to be seen more in their feed as well. So that more easily leads into you being able to reach out to them and invite them to your team. So just narrow that down, about 10 people a month on Instagram that you want to focus on. And then about 20 people that you check in, I don't know, like 2 times a week or once a week, that you would see yourself inviting to a challenge group or even a free group. That is a really good place to start. It kind of just depends on the person if I go right into a 30-day invite or just a free group invite. Like, how much have they talked with me? If it's a very new connect and we haven't talked a whole lot, but I know fitness is on the radar because that's why they said they started following me, I may invite them to a free group first so that we can start getting to know each other better, and they get over on Facebook with me and into a group. Okay. Instagram stories. Let's talk more about that. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning. Be duplicatable. What you put out there is what you will attract. So talk about, you want to talk to the person that you want on your team, in your challenge groups. You want at least 5 per day throughout the day, not just 5 all at once and that's all you do. That does matter because the more recent you're doing your stories and more consistently throughout the day, when people go on Instagram, if you've had a more recent story, your little circle is going to pop up sooner for them. Does that make sense? If it's been like 19 hours since you did a story, you're not going to show up for them as easily. Some other things you can do in your stories, you can tag locations, and you can use hashtags as well. I learned this cool trick the other day. Okay, so I'm going to show you all this. And I may be the only one who never realized it, but so I'm just going to, let's take a picture here of our team training. Stop share for a second. Okay. I'll do it this way for my stories. And then, you know how you can swipe up and there's a hashtag option, right? But you can only use, it is not focusing. There's a hashtag option there, but you can only put one hashtag there. That list of 20 to 25 hashtags that you're going to make, you can copy and paste that onto the picture. So that's what I'm going to do. So it looks like that. And then you just pinch it really, 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 really small. And then I'm dragging it off to the side. And those hashtags are there, but you can't see them. Okay? So that's a little trick I learned the other day. Same thing with tagging a location. You can tag a location anywhere you would like. I could tag London right now, even though I'm not there. Okay? And what I do is I just shrink it down and then I drag it off the screen where you can't see that. Okay? And I'm just going to put rockin' our team call and short story. Okay. Y'all that makes sense? So you can put those hashtags on there, pinch it, nobody will see it. So that's good to add to them as well. Let's go back to share screen. I didn't want that one. Stop share. Sorry. Okay. The other thing that you can do with stories is you want to make sure that you are creating engagement on your stories so that people are actually DMing you or responding to something in some way that you need to reach back out. So like the other day I did a poll. I did like a series of stories leading up to talking about my challenge group that's coming up. And I posted that in Dream Big. You guys can duplicate that. I saw a few people did. And at the end, it was a poll. And you want to put your answers on your poll, not to be yes and no, but like 100% yes or I'm interested. So if they click on it at all, you know that, hey, they have some sort of interest in it. You can use sliders. You can say, hey, ask me a question. And then you'll have to go in and answer the questions. But there's all kinds of cool features to get your audience to engage and click on something. Let's see. Answers should be 2 positives all the time on polls. So yeah, Leslie cracked me up the other day. Hers was like, yepers, like yeppers and something else. So it's cute. So Yeah, and the only time I'll do yes or no is if like I'm like, do I buy this outfit? And yes or no. And then sharing the lifestyle of coaching. I already told you guys how I do a bit of that every single day. Honestly, every day in some sort of way, I'm sharing coaching. Not like a direct call to action, join my team, but this is what it looks like in my life. This is how I fit in working a business at home with 4 little kids. So it's very easy, you guys, to just fit that in there in a just, natural way. Okay. Okay. Oh, the other thing about the polls, when you have insights, I can go back because like your stories are only available for 24 hours. So if you forget to go back and look who actually looked at your stuff, when you have insights, you can go back 14 days and still be able to pull up that story and see who's been engaging. And that's also awesome for like, if you're really needing to try to connect with new people, go back to a bunch of your old stories and start, engaging with the people who've been watching them maybe a week ago or something. And you can start to pick up on who is still watching your stories. Okay. Some other Instagram tools that you can be using. Flume. I don't know if Flume is available for PCs, but it is available on Macs. It is an app on my MacBook. It is not flawless, but it does help me a little bit. I'll show you what it looks like. Let me go share. Okay, so this is Flume. It's an app on my Mac. It's not letting me move it. Okay, anyway, so there we go. These are like top people that are in my feed, suggested searches, people I've been talking to a lot. If I want to search for somebody, I can click people. Let me go down here. So this is just like my Instagram feed, okay? This is a way to get to it on your computer. What I mostly like this for is direct messaging. So I can, how on direct messenger on your phone, it is very difficult to sort your messages. I'll have so many messages coming in just from talking to people that I can't see my unread messages on my phone very easily. And so I will miss things. So with Flume, I can go to filter, show unread. So these are all my unread messages. Sorry, Naomi, I got to respond to you. I haven't gotten to that today. And these are like all my messages, but this is show unread. Okay, so that's a really cool thing about it. And, sometimes your thumbs and stuff get tired of posting on or, commenting and talking to people back and forth on your phone. So this is a way you can get on your computer, knock it out, and type to them. So I like Flume. Sometimes it kind of jams up on me, but for the most part, it works pretty good. Okay. The other thing that I've been using is stemsocial.com. It is really cool. Yes, you can grow your Instagram organically, like I said, going and engaging and following people. If you want to step that up a little bit and help yourself out, I've been using STEM Social to help me grow my reach. And it does it in a way that is not so crazy fast that I can't keep up. I mean, I try to engage with most of the people who are following me through STEM Social. So what it is something you pay for. You can choose what level you want to pay for. I'm paying for the highest amount is $40. And you put in certain hashtags that you want to follow. You can put in there pages that you like to follow that are not coaches. Don't put coaches in there. But just, I don't know, maybe like Magnolia Home, I don't know, what are some other things? Disney, just some different things in there, some pages that you like to follow, and make sure that those followers on those pages tend to look like people you would want to connect with. And what STEM Social does is it goes and follows people using those hashtags and follows people who are also following like Magnolia Home page, for example. And then the hope is they will follow you back. And you can also set it to where it will unfollow people who aren't following you back and stuff, so that doesn't get too out of whack, because you don't want those numbers to be too off balanced. But this has been very helpful. You can also set it up to auto message everybody who follows you. And so I just set it to say something that sounds like me, like, hey girl, thanks for the follow. I love connecting with my peeps. Are you on a health and fitness journey too? And the ones who respond, I pick up that conversation from there, and I go in their page, I engage with their page, and I find some commonality to try to connect with them on. If they don't respond, but I see they read my message or whatever, and I will still go and look at their page, and if it looks like someone that, hey, I could really connect with this person, then I again find some commonality and pick up the conversation from there, even though they didn't respond to my first message. That way they know, like, hey, it's not just a bot over there messaging me. Oh, it's like a real person reaching out, asking me a specific question about something they see. Does that make sense? Any questions about that? It's cool. If you want to try it, STEM Social allows you to have a 5-day free trial, and you can try it out and see how you like it, and then decide from there if you want to continue and pay for it. It doesn't charge you after the 5 days. It just turns off. But I'm loving it. Instagram display purposes. That's another app you can use, which I think is the one. Yeah, display purposes is the one that you can put in hashtags. So like I could put in hashtag mom, and it will tell me a bunch of hashtags that are related to mom. So that's an app on your phone. So it gave me like family time, motherhood, mom, baby boy, daughter, sis, spam, siblings, pregnancy, moms. And I would probably go into explore and need to narrow those down a whole lot more, because if I put in toddler, I'm probably going to get 1 million people. So I would need to get a little more specific, but it can at least get your brain thinking in the right direction and start helping you get more creative. Cleaner is another app that you can use. So if, let's say, every day you're following 20, 30 new people on Instagram, you don't want it to get to where you're following all these people and then you have a lot of people who are not following you back. Remember I said those numbers need to not be too far apart. I don't know what that ratio is. We could probably look that up. But cleaner is a way for you to go and unfollow people who aren't following you back really quickly. But you don't want to do more than 50 at a time, because then Instagram will flag that. So you can just go unfollow 50 people who aren't following you back. Yes, When to Post is an app that lets you know what times to post based on your Instagram stats. Yeah, I was listening to that on Melanie's podcast today, and I looked at that. Thanks for reminding me of that, which was interesting. I downloaded that app today, When to Post, and my times were, it says best times today, 7:45 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning, and 10:45 in the morning. So I guess like when everybody's got their kids off to school. So that's when it recommended for me. So that's a cool app you can use as well, because you do want to make sure that you're posting at times when your audience is more likely to be on. All right. So that's it, you guys. That's what I have for you. That's Instagram in a nutshell. Anybody have questions about Instagram that they've been wondering about or struggling with? If you do, you can unmute. I hope that was helpful and you learned something new. Nothing? All right. Well, I try to share, trainings that I listen to on our team page, and I send out a newsletter. need to do that still this month, but I'll put little trainings in there that I found useful for you guys to listen to. But as you know, like Melanie Mitro has a great podcast, and some of hers have been about Instagram. There's one called the Angie Lee Show. That one's really good. And she tends to have some good tips on there as well. And then, of course, Build Your Tribe with Chalene Johnson and her son, Brock Johnson, and her have been really teaming up on teaching social media. So that's good. Which reminds me, you guys, I hope you get your booties to Dallas in October so that you can see Chalene Johnson in person. If you guys haven't heard me talk about that yet, I talked about it last Friday. What were the dates? Anybody remember? It was October, I think, 19th and 20th. Shalene's coming, and so is Bob Heilig. And his podcast is called, why am I going blank? Your Virtual Upline. If you don't have his podcast yet, you need to download that now. But those two are coming to Dallas. And, excuse me. You guys heard of Christine Dwyer? She's not a founding coach, but she is. She's been around a very long time, so it's pretty much the beginning. And she's got, probably like the biggest downline in the entire business. And so she's hosting this training. Apparently, she does this every year. And this year, she's bringing Bob and Chalene. Somehow, Summer found out about it, and so we have access to those tickets. And I think it was $175. Is that what I said last week? It was around that price if we buy them in bulk. That is an amazing deal. And we're going to be staying in a house together. So we're going to keep the cost down for food and lodging. We've done this several times. It's super fun. We plan out the meals and we all eat there together to keep it cost effective. All right. How do you add your Instagram followers to Team Z? You know what, Tammy? I have not done that. I only did Facebook because when I first started with Team Z, that's what I used. I mean, I only was using Facebook really at the time. So I just input them. Like if I am connecting with someone on Instagram, a new follower that I'm engaging with, that I want to remember to engage with, I add them as a new contact and schedule a follow-up with it. So I'm inputting them myself. I didn't mass input everybody from Instagram. I don't know that. Can you do that? Do you know? There is a way to do that? Yeah, I didn't mass do it. I just, and I guess as your Instagram grows, though, it wouldn't update it because it doesn't do that with Facebook. It's just like your current followers it puts in there, as far as I know. So unless it's changed as far as Instagram goes. But I just input the ones that I'm interacting with, because you're going to get like, if you're thinking big time, like 10,000 followers or something on Instagram. It's a lot of people, so I try to just hone in on the ones that I'm really wanting to connect with and engage with. All right, need another app, like 2 Team Z's. Oh, my goodness. All right, cool. All right, y'all, thank you for being on. If you think of other questions, please post them, and we will post this recording if y'all need to watch it again. All right, have a good night. See ya. Bye.